over the past several years, we've seen a very interesting phenomenon of millions of Americans secretly buying guns. Now, why would they be secretly buying guns? Well, as a matter of fact, the secret's out and people aren't keeping it secret anymore. And there's a good reason for that as well. Now, before we get into it, I do want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, ES Power Drink, for giving me the ability to put down Trinidad scorpion peppers. I could do it in a drink. I could do it in a fresh brew. I could do it in these fire and ice chips and reap the health benefits of the capsaicin of those super hot peppers that I can't eat because it'll tear my mouth up, tear my stomach up. I can't do that, but the health benefits are tremendous. I'm losing weight. I'm sleeping better. I'm digesting food better. I have a better outlook on life. My blood sugar levels are down. Like everything is so much better because of ES Power Drink. That link is below. All right, now what am I getting at here? Now, this is fascinating. I find this incredibly fascinating and very encouraging. This is good news too, by the way. What we saw in 2020 was there were millions and millions and millions of new gun owners. That was great news. But since then, what you have is you have millions and millions of more Americans secretly buying guns. Now, why are they secretly buying guns? Well, they're secretly buying guns because they're embarrassed to own a gun. They've been protesting against guns, demanding, saying you can't have a gun, take guns. But now they're seeing, well, I need a gun, so I better go get a gun. It's almost kind of like when in Rome. And that is a good thing to, in America, it's very dangerous here. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of millions of guns and lots of criminals, violent criminals with guns. You should have a gun. Everybody should have a gun. I don't care what political party you're in. If you're a responsible gun owner, you should have that gun on your hip at all times, in my humble opinion. But they're secretly doing it. And we talked to Maggie about this quite a bit. And what it kind of looks like is they look, at first they kind of look, and then it's like, I don't know, I always swore I'd never do this. And then finally they're kind of like, all right, let me just see that one. And it just, so, gun salespeople can tell. Some people come in, they're like, oh, look at that awesome gun. I want to check that out. And then other people are kind of like, I swear I'd never do this. And I don't know, I don't even want to touch it. I've never even touched one before. And you can kind of always tell. And a lot of them, they look around, trying to be really secretive about it. And this is the same thing around the country. But now it's not a secret anymore because now it's almost as if because of candidates kind of talking about the guns they own now, and I own a Glock, or I own this or that, and here's why I own a gun, that they're kind of going, oh, well, actually, it's okay. I can own a gun, and now I can own a gun. And this isn't necessarily a fascinating event. What's fascinating about it is how it's almost like they needed permission to do that thing. Like they knew they needed one. Back in 2020, people knew they needed one. And most people pulled the trigger on that, no pun intended. But a large percentage of people, they kind of thought, well, I need a gun, but I don't know. I just don't really want to get a gun. I'm still protesting against guns. I still think they need to be taken from people. And maybe I'll just check it out. Maybe I'll just go to the gun store. And then slowly there's this phenomenon that once they were given permission, so to say, to do this thing, then it was okay. Now, I want to bring up really, because I'm not promoting any political party and never will. Like I will never tell anybody who I voted for. My wife probably won't even know who I voted for. She might make a guess, but she could be wrong. What I'm saying is that we live in a culture of Americans where people are kind of looking for permission from their leaders to do the right thing. It's very strange on both sides, a very strange phenomenon. But when you are sitting there literally waiting for permission from federal leaders for you to, go, well, I own a gun and here's what I own. Oh, well, then that person owns a gun. So then therefore I can, okay, now I got permission to go out and do this thing. the secret's out. People are like, oh, now I got guns. Look at me got guns. I have permission. I can enjoy them. I don't have to be so secretive about it. Well, here's the secret. You never did have to be secretive about it. Here's the secret. Like, we encourage, pro-gun people aren't going to criticize you. We're encouraging you. Come on over to our side. Welcome, new Second Amendment patriot. Like, that's kind of how we are, like, the gun community is the nicest community I've ever been involved in. And I'm not just saying that. Every time I go to a gun convention anywhere in this country, I leave thinking, man, those are some nice people. Anytime I go do an interview, I leave thinking, they're so nice. Everybody's so kind here. Very, very nice community. So, we welcome you. You don't have to keep it a secret. You don't have to. Your favorite political leader said you can have a gun. Whatever the reason you want to have a gun, have a gun. It's okay. Nobody's going to call you a hypocrite. Nobody's going to give you a hard time. Welcome to the gun community. That's how I would like to put it. But in the end, I'd like to implore for all Americans to stop waiting for permission from your favorite leaders to feel like something's okay or something isn't okay. Like, this thing's okay until my favorite political candidate told me it wasn't, and now it's not anymore. Like, be an individual. I said this politically. I often don't know who I'm going to vote for. I kind of think I know, but I bet I'll stand in line second guessing myself when I go to vote. And a lot can happen between now and then. But I do that because there is no political party that I agree with everything they say. Typically, I agree with nothing that either one says. Sometimes I have to vote on both people are taking us to the edge of a cliff. Which one is driving fastest? Let's stay away from that person. But they're both heading to that cliff, man. So getting off on a tangent here, but in the end, it really is about stop letting political people give you permission to do things. You are an American. You have the Second Amendment right to protect yourself and your family with firearms. I encourage you to do so. I don't care who you're affiliated with party-wise. I don't care at all. And either does the entire gun community. Like, just welcome. Come on in. It's fun to look at guns, fun to buy guns, fun to shoot guns. And being a responsible gun carrier just makes all the people around you safer, especially yourself and your family. I just don't think there's any other way a person can look at it. You just need to, who cares what political party you're in? You have the right to defend yourself. You should. You should.